Welcome, dear dreamer. You found your way to Moonlight Whispers, a quiet corner of the night where stories breathe softly, time slows down, and the world feels just a little more gentle. Settle in, let your thoughts rest, and allow tonight's tale to guide you into calm, warmth, and wonder. Tonight's story is one of quiet whispers, forgotten melodies, and the gentle reminder that love never fades, it simply changes form. This is a story of a small music box in an old, timeless shop, and the way it brings back memories long buried. There's a quiet, almost invisible street that runs along the edge of town. The kind of street you wouldn't notice unless you were looking for it, or unless you were lost. One cloudy afternoon, I found myself wandering down this very street, guided by nothing more than the feeling that I was meant to go somewhere. The sky was heavy with rain that hadn't yet fallen, and the scent of wet earth mixed with the lingering sweetness of summer flowers. As I walked, I spotted a narrow wooden sign that swayed in the soft wind, the Music Box Emporium. It was small, unassuming, tucked between two old buildings with no windows to the outside world. But something about it, something unspoken, called me in. I pushed open the door, the bell above it ringing softly, and entered. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of wood, lavender, and something old, timeless, like a place that had been forgotten by time itself. The shop was dimly lit, casting long shadows across the floor. Shelves lined the walls, filled with trinkets of all kinds, tarnished silver frames, porcelain dolls, antique clocks with ticking hands, old leather-bound books. But what caught my eye immediately was a small, delicate music box placed on a velvet cushion in the center of the room. It wasn't the largest or most ornate, but something about it was magnetic. It seemed to hum with life, even though it sat quietly in the dim light. An elderly man stood behind the counter, his silver hair flowing like a soft stream. His eyes were kind but knowing, as if he could see through the walls of time itself. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice warm but gentle, like a memory you didn't know you had forgotten. "I was just admiring this music box," I replied, almost in a whisper, not sure why it felt so special. The man smiled softly, as if he had been waiting for me. "That one," he said, nodding toward the music box, "remembers." I paused. "Remembers what?" He chuckled quietly, his gaze drifting to the music box. "It remembers who needs to hear its song." Curiosity overwhelmed me as I stepped closer to the music box. The man's words had stirred something deep inside me, something I couldn't quite place. The box was intricately carved, with delicate flowers and vines that seemed to grow across its surface. It was small enough to fit in the palm of my hand, yet its presence was undeniable. The wood, though worn, had a certain luster, and the golden details around the edges caught the light as though it had been waiting for someone to notice. "Would you like to hear it play?" the shopkeeper asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, unsure of what I was about to experience. The shopkeeper opened the lid slowly, and the softest melody began to play. It wasn't a typical tune, nothing like the sweet lullabies or festive songs you might expect. No, this melody felt different, personal, intimate. I closed my eyes as the music filled the room. It was hauntingly familiar, like a tune I'd once heard in a dream. It was warm, comforting, yet somehow bittersweet. I let the music wash over me, and then a memory surfaced. It was fleeting at first, like a dream fading with the morning lights. I saw a face, a smile, a place I hadn't thought of in years. It felt like home. But why did I feel this deep ache in my chest? The music continued to play, soft and gentle, as the shopkeeper observed me quietly. It was as though he had seen this before, this effect the music had on people. This box, he said slowly, was crafted by a man who understood the true nature of love and memory. He believed that love never truly fades, it just changes. The music, it carries the echoes of what we've lost. I turned to him, surprised by his words. But how does it work? The shopkeeper's eyes grew soft. When you hear this song, it brings back a memory, a person you've loved, someone you thought you had lost. And in that moment, you understand that love doesn't disappear. It simply changes form. Like the sound of this music, it stays with you, even if you can no longer hear it clearly. I didn't fully understand, but something in the air seemed to hum with truth. I looked at the music box again. Its soft, golden light seemed to reach toward me, pulling me deeper into its mystery. As I continued to listen to the music, a new customer entered the shop, a woman, perhaps in her late 30s, with dark circles under her eyes and a heaviness about her. She moved slowly, as though she were carrying something invisible, something too large for her to bear. She walked through the aisles, her eyes scanning the objects around her, until she stopped in front of the same music box. Without saying a word, she reached out, and the shopkeeper opened the lid. The music began to play again, and I could see her reaction immediately. Her posture softened, her shoulders relaxed. She closed her eyes, letting the sound envelop her. The tune was the same, but for her it was something else entirely. It was a song she had long forgotten, a song that belonged to her past. She stood there, still as the world around her paused, and for a brief moment, I saw the faintest tears slip down her cheeks. I wanted to ask her what she was hearing, but I felt it was not my place. After a while, the woman turned to the shopkeeper. That was beautiful, she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. It reminded me of someone I loved. The shopkeeper nodded gently. The music always knows who needs to hear it. The woman left the shop soon after, but the impact of the music lingered in the air. The melody continued to play softly, as if it had become a part of the room itself. I turned to the shopkeeper again, my thoughts swirling. Do you get many people like that, who need to hear the song? He smiled softly, a knowing look in his eyes. Oh yes, this box brings people here when they need to remember something, or someone. I glanced back at the box. But what happens after they hear the song? Do they change? The shopkeeper's voice was gentle but firm. They don't change, they just remember. Love doesn't disappear, you see. It only changes shape. And sometimes we need something like music to bring us back to it. I stood there for a long while, just listening to the music. The room felt different now, lighter, as if something had shifted inside me. The song played on, and I realized that the melody had become part of me too. I could hear the memory it carried, even if it was a memory of someone I had never known. I walked out of the shop, the music still playing softly in my heart. As I stepped back into the evening lights, I felt the weight of the day slip away, replaced by a quiet understanding. I had heard a melody that had awakened something in me, something I had long forgotten but always carried with me. They say that when you hear the song of the music box, you are reminded of the love that still lives inside you. It doesn't disappear, it simply changes form, like the notes of a song carried through time. The music box doesn't bring back the past, it brings back the love. And sometimes that's enough to remind us that what we have lost was never truly gone. May your nights be gentle, your dreams be kind, and may the moonlight always find you. Good night, dreamer.